This video will describe how to utilize the Spatial Analyst Raster Calculator. Now, well, welcome to the uh, the big show now when it comes to raster analysis, everybody, and that is in Spatial Analyst, the Raster Calculator is a real workhorse. Now, in previous videos, if you've been watching them, it was demonstrated how to create rasters and then reclassify rasters in order for them to be utilized for analysis. Now, this is the scenario that we're going to be working with, and that is in Shawnee County, Kansas. In order to identify the location of a hazardous waste facility, it's been determined that several different factors need to be taken into account. Number one, the facility has to be close to the highway. So a distance surface was created and reclassified in a way that values that are lower, okay, shorter distances from the highway, are considered more favorable. Now, the second raster that was created and reclassified was dealing with population, where demographic data was utilized, identifying the populations for each one of the blocks, where it was the original feature data was turned into raster format, and then afterwards it was reclassified to where lower values of population were considered more favorable when it came to the reclassification on a scale that was utilized. Now finally, the third one, dealing with land cover. There's a series of decisions that were made after the land cover layer was turned into a raster layer to where certain land cover practices were considered more favorable than others. So on the scale based upon 10, it was done. So those rasters that are reclassified were created, and so what do we do now? We've got to plug it all in. We've got to plug in the distance, the population, and the land cover. We've reclassified, letting ArcGIS Spatial Analyst know, okay, here are our final decisions when it comes to the priorities for each one of the cells here. What we're going to do is this, folks. Please go ahead and open up Arc Toolbox. Arc Toolbox. Okay, click on that. And in Arc Toolbox, you will find Spatial Analyst Tools right over here. And go ahead and open that up. And where you want to go next from Spatial Analyst Tools, please go to Map Algebra. And within Map Algebra, you will find the Raster Calculator. Go ahead and open that up. Now, here's the wisdom of making sure that whenever you do a step in Spatial Analyst, you make it very obvious what stage it is in when it comes to the rasters. And you're going to see that, well, with my patented method of naming, I had renamed the land cover that had been reclassified land reclass, population pop reclass, dis reclass. So that makes my life a lot easier. Now here we go. We're going to combine them all together to create a surface that'll help us determine what are the best locations for a hazardous waste facility in Shawnee County, Kansas. So I'm going to click on land reclass. Now, what kind of math are we going to do? We're going to do simple addition. Land reclass plus pop reclass plus dist reclass. Wow, math doesn't get any worse than that. Huh? That's pretty difficult. And that's all we're going to do this first time around. We're just simply going to ask ArcMap Spatial Analyst to identify the cells that overlay each other along, throughout Shawnee County, and it's just simply going to add the values. So that's why we did that reclassification stuff, is so that way now those different layers, they can be compared to regarding what importance we assign. And so the output raster, I'm going to send it to a geodatabase called Shawnee, and I'm going to call this Solution 01. Click Save and go to work. And by the way, depending upon the kind of computer you have, sometimes some operations will take a little bit longer than others. And wow, what a pretty surface was created here. Here, let me just get rid of our toolbox. And just like anything else when it comes to layers, everybody, cartographically, and you see, wow, we got a lot of values here. We could range this, and so therefore, yeah, as a matter of fact, let's do this right now. I'm going to right click on solutions. Let's go to properties. And I'm going to go to classified. Okay, ranges. 5 is okay. That'll work. Let me give it a nice color scheme. Something to write home to. There you go. Okay. Burns the eyes, folks. It burns the eyes sometimes. But it was a simple 5 range right here. And so, okay, now visually you start to get an idea saying, hey, you know, I'm starting to see these blue areas. Hey, you know, these seem like they're, you know, good possibilities. Now, we're going to go back into Raster Calculator because that was just simple addition. That was just saying, here, at your base level, show me what you got. What if we wanted to bring in more of the human element? What if we wanted to say, you know, I really do think that when it comes to population, that's worth a lot because, let's face it, the voters don't like it when you put a hazardous waste facility in their backyard. So maybe that's worth, you know, 50% out of 100 of the weight of the decision. And if we look at the distance from the highway, well, you know, that's pretty important too. Let's go maybe 30% weighting, saying 30% out of 100 of the decision making should be based upon that, and then maybe 20%. Well, when it comes to land cover, okay, you know, we think that it's important, but maybe it's not as important as you think. You know, maybe they're I hate to say, maybe the politicians are saying eminent domain. You know, where we'll get that land one way or the other. Who knows? Wow, what a cynical thing to say. Well, what we do is go back into our toolbox, and within Spatial Analyst Tools, once again, Spatial Analyst Tools, go to Map Algebra and Raster Calculator. We go back there again, we open up the calculator, and we're going to do this again, and we're going to bring in land reclass. And in our decision-making process, we said that, well, you know, this is only worth maybe 20%. This is how you bring it in. And by the way, please, everybody, when you do this, make sure you add it up. Your total weighting is 100%. If you start going into 120, 150, well, more power to you. But explain to somebody in a board meeting saying this is worth 120% of our solution. People will give you funny looks. So I just typed or clicked on land reclass, and I'm going to click on the multiply symbol here. Okay, times point 2, 0. Now, reclass times, okay, multiplied by 0.20. That is the way that you add in that weighting. So we said we're going to weight land cover at 20%, okay, and then you click on plus just like before, and now let's go with population reclass, and we said, hey, that's really important. Let's make that worth 50% of the weighting, so that way we could say we really, you know, we're looking out for our citizens here. So once again, you click on multiplied by 0.50. And by the way, I know you're going to say, well, you didn't have to put the 0 there. Okay, whatever. Now, let's add in the last one. The distance. We said, you know, you got to be pretty close to the highways. That's rather important. So we click on distance reclass. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Plus. See? Got to watch my work. Okay, plus distance reclass. Multiplied by 0.30. There. So what do I have here? Land reclass multiplied by 0.20 plus pop reclass times 0.50 plus distance reclass times 0.30. So you're still adding, but the thing is you're bringing in the weighting too. So that's the way you can get a little bit more fancy when it comes to your decision-making process. And let me save this. And I will call this solution number 2. I hit save. And let's see what happens. Aha. There, even prettier. Now this is just another color scheme, but let's see what we can do to make it a little nicer looking. And tell you what, I'm going to give it 10. And okay, mess around with those colors. Oh, look at that. Huh. Nice warm colors. Well, everybody, that is how you use Raster Calculator. Once you've converted the data to raster format, and once you've done the reclassification, it's not that difficult to draw a final conclusion. And so everybody, when it comes to feature data analysis that you're used to in ArcMap, it has its place, but this really is the wonderful thing to share when it comes to raster analysis, is this ability to work with surfaces and do this reclassification, bring in the human element. It's just really, it's a great thing, and it's very effective.